Everybody, welcome back to Northernlion. Takes a couple of seconds here. Make sure he's got the hard drive space. Oh, we got the hard drive space. I finally deleted some old video games that were like hundreds of megabytes. What's not to like? 10 wins in a row. A fine early Monday afternoon. Yo. And the weather's good. Expam Talon. Agreed, brother. We're gonna hit this Emperor up right away. This is a weird one, dude. I wish it were not Ragman, but I will say our stats are good. So here's the game plan, okay? You're probably aware of this. We got the D4. The D4 is an incredibly powerful item. 1 HP is very dangerous right now, which is why my dream scenario is we just defeat Ragman and we don't get hit. If we get hit, I will probably, and we might want to pivot to actually attacking him now. If I get hit, I will probably hit the spacebar in the hopes of re-rolling into more HP, but we have so little to re-roll that it's kind of a one-shot deal that's a little dicey. So interesting. If we get any more dice, we're gonna transform into a dice. It's kind of a one-shot deal on the re-roll right now is what I was gonna say. So this is a room that's very rich in champions. Sorry, I was, hoping we'd start with a little bit, just a cushion, so we could actually transition into a conversational thread that was not necessarily related to Isaac. But we've got, we should be considering ourselves blessed, I suppose. We have a very interesting Isaac start. The ability to completely reroll our run, but only 1 HP, and, plenty of enemies on the first floor are happy to take that HP away from you in one single hit from time to time. So I do want to reroll. Is the one D4 caveat. It's not really guaranteed on a small scale to win your run. On a long enough time scale, you know how they say in what is that from? On a Fight Club? I think it's from Fight Club. On a long enough time scale, all of our survival goes to 0. Okay, wow, it's so deep. I'm 13 and this is deep. But simultaneously, this is like the opposite here. On a short enough time scale, the D4 is no longer a guaranteed victory. But, check it out, dude. We have the ability to access this tinted rock finally. I almost blew myself up. That was not a wise idea. Why not just place it and then walk away, You place the bomb, you walk away. You place the bomb, you walk away. Let's see what we get. We just can't, literally cannot do anything with it. So I am going to go to our curse room. Am I going to reroll? Not yet. But please, call off the dogs, okay? I will reroll. Do not get it twisted. But I'm just not going to do it yet because, we have 2 items and one of them is extremely good. So I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, you know what I mean? Still it's a strange expression. How would you accidentally throw out a baby? I know people always, whenever I talk about pardon me? What is this? Am I on the right save file, dude? I think it just doesn't feel right. Whenever I talk about idioms, people are like, well, in the Middle Ages, people would throw their bathwater out of their window. And sometimes there was a case of maidens threw their babies out with the bath. No, it never happened. Use your brain for 2 seconds. You're so distracted, just pick up the whole bathtub. Why does it weigh 15 pounds more than it's supposed to? Me thinks the maiden doth protest too much. I don't know. They probably didn't all talk like Shakespearean back then. I don't know. Maybe not. It happened, dude. How would you know? Were you alive back then? I don't think so. That'd be pretty. If you were, you gotta tell me because you're like a vampire of some sort. Anyway, how am I doing? I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. It's a Monday. Got up early this morning. Quit bragging. Got up early this morning. Hit the gym. Nobody in the gym. It's the day after St. Patrick's Day. This wonderful situation. I don't know if too many people celebrate a Sunday St. Patrick's Day. It's an inconvenient day. One of the 5 most inconvenient days for a holiday that, at least in North America, centers exclusively around drinking way too much alcohol to be. But, you know, I was down. It was a nice little bit of solitude. Most of the time, the gym's a little busy, even in the morning. This time, just had it completely to myself. It's a good way to... I mean, it's nice because I could just fart my heart out down there. You know, I don't have to hold it in or, you know, go to the locker room or try to sneak it in behind somebody and then go like, did you fart? I don't actually do that, but it does cross my mind from time to time. There's something, and I recognize this from having lived in a relatively big city for a while now. There's something really nice, and that was a terrible bit of damage to take. There's something really nice about having a shared space entirely to yourself. You can't tell me I'm wrong here, you know? I mean, you can, but I would disagree with you, I guess, is the way that I should be expressing it. Like, when you go to a movie theater, and there's 100 seats, but it's just you and whoever you came with, that's just a good time. When you go to the grocery store, and nobody's getting in your way. There are, you know, you probably don't want to be in a situation where you're like at a sporting event and you're the only person there. There are times other people add an ambiance to the events. I'm not going to deny that, but having exclusive access to facilities made for multiple people, oh, it's a dream come true. Think about it like a hot tub. You know, when we were in Whistler after snowboarding, I'm not a big hot tub guy. I always feel like after, you know, 5 or 10 minutes in the hot tub, my heart going to explode. Probably should get that looked at, to be honest. But it's not a rare thought. I talked to dozens of people like me in that same boat. I don't find it unpleasant. It's relaxing for a bit, and then it's a little unpleasant, and then I get half out of the hot tub, and then I go back in a couple of minutes later, and then I get out, and I have to dip myself. You know, I'm a dipper, not a soaker. And you know, when you're in the hot tub and it's just you and your friends, you're like, this is cool. But then, like, a few strangers get in the hot tub and you're like, I mean, it's still fine, and, you know, we can, like, make conversation, but, like, no offense to you guys, you have every right to be here, but I kind of just wish you weren't. And that's unfair. I'm not saying go away. I'm just saying, like, if I could make my perfect world, you wouldn't be a part of it right now. Sorry to say. Now, let's get one good item is all I ask for. Potato peeler is not a great fit. Sack of sacks is fine. And you might say I'm being rude. I think I'm just saying what most people think in those situations. If you're the kind of person who's excited when some strangers jump into your hot tub, I don't want to be in a hot tub with you. Because you're deriving some sort of weird pleasure from my being there that makes me uncomfortable. I didn't sign up for that. I signed up to, you know, soak my sore joints in a tub of an unsanitary variety. You especially shouldn't be excited to see me get into your hot tub, because I'm just absolutely covered in body hair. And people find it gross, but, you know, I mean, I find it a little gross too. Sorry that when I was born, I accidentally ticked the have a lot of body hair box, you know? Your hairless privilege is showing. Okay, give me the matchbook here. We should be safe. I'm thinking you probably do snag one of these, but they both kind of suck, so let's do that. Dude, they're both good. I would rather just have the HP for now. Then we D4, and I was just going to say we got the opportunity to go snag this one. Now, I was just making sure we had enough HP to do it, make it work for us. Okay, it was a pretty good situation, I think. Let's move along. I gotta be real with you. Normally, I come at you with some weekend stories. I got, like, no weekend stories. It's a pretty low-key weekend for me. For Kate and I should say. You know, we went for I played a lot of Tetris, which is not uncommon. But usually, you know, when I wake up a couple of hours before my wife, you know, when I turn on Malf's 12-hour stream, watch him do the same mission in Mafia 6 or 7 times while I'm playing a little Tetris 99. Couple of wins, can't complain. We went for a long walk. Went to a very touristy part of Vancouver called Granville Island. Had a nice meal. You know, in terms of, like, not relationship, in terms of cuisine anecdotes, I've only got one, and that's, you know, cake. We were in, like, the brunch hour. You know, the brunching hours? If midnight's the witching hour, we were in the brunching hour. So I went for a reroll here, hoping for some goodness. And I would say we didn't whiff, but it could be better. Kate was like, I kind of want breakfast, but I also kind of want French fries. I can relate to that. This is why we get along so well. So she ordered a side of French fries, but I was like, man, that side of French fries was $7.50. That's pretty expensive. $7.50 Canadian. Trust me. By the way, if you think you're extremely clever, $7.50 Canadian, what's that? 1 penny American? Good one. Last time I heard that one, I fell off my friggin' dinosaur. Anyway, that being said, it is cheaper. But I was like, that's expensive for French fries, dude. And when it came out, I realized why it was $7.50. Because it wasn't like a side of French fries, like a side that, you know, it goes on the side of your plate. This was a side of French fries in the same way you can go to the butcher shop and get a side of beef. It was like, I can't even, if I had to put a number on it, I don't even know how I would do so. How many French fries are in your average side of French fries? I would take that and literally at least triple it. We were both stunned when it came out. It's one of those things, it was so daunting. We ate like 4 French fries, and then we were like, I can't eat any more of this. Even if we ate, you know, 100 French fries each, the thing would still look the same size. It never gets smaller. Dude, thank God for the demon hearts here. It's a tricky room. Oh my, jeez Louise. And then we did there's a public market on Granville Island. It's super busy. Well, it's almost the inspiration and the inverse for the bit I just did. I had to bail, dude. That was like, you know, a public space is awesome if you're the only person there. This is like, Granville Island's super cool. There's lots of like, you know, people that make homemade pasta noodles and homemade bagels and stuff like that, and cheesemongers and, you know, bespoke butcher shops and, you know, artisan craftsmen and chocolatiers and stuff like that. And then there's just so many people that I go, I don't want any. I mean, I want to have some of this, but simultaneously, there's so many people here, I just want to leave. we bought a jigsaw puzzle and went home and did it. And I watched the F1 race as well. It was nice, you know. It was just a nice low-key Saturday. We had one of those situations we were trying to figure out what to do on Saturday. Sure, I mean, it was a pretty good get. Just re-roll me. I'm kind of like, we've had a few suboptimal ones in a row, but I'm willing to go for it now. We were like, what do you want to do on Saturday? Do you want to, you know, go see a movie? And then we look at the movies that are playing, and we're like, we've seen the ones we want to see. We could go see Alita Battle Angel, and I'm like, I would not mind. And Kate's like, yeah, but I don't think. And then I'm like, yeah, you know. Anyway, you get the idea. So we just went for a nice walk. But it's just so nice that the weather is decent here. I don't know, do you guys have the same thing in other parts of the world? I'm sure, where like, I guess it's like the impetus for Groundhog Day to some extent, where, you know, the first nice week after winter start to, you know, you don't get too attached to it because I've been tricked before. It's like I'm a jaded old spinster or something like that. Like it's double digits Celsius and sunny. I've been walking around in you know, like a polo shirt, basically. I know, I'm 100 years old. But they're comfortable, and I like the way the sleeves fit, okay? But I'm like, I know, like a week from today, I'm gonna wake up and look outside, there's gonna be like light flurries, and I'm gonna be like, how is such a thing even possible? Anyway, let me tell you, it's iced coffee, in case you're wondering what the rattling is. I don't have a rock tumbler off to the side. Hope y'all had a good weekend too. Embarrassingly, this is oh, Alex, thanks for the subscription. This is a great opportunity for this. I'm kind of like embarrassed because, you know, I don't like to. I'm a real adult, and I know that sounds insulting, but you know, like if you're watching this and you're like 20, you're like, I'm a real adult too. But you're like, you are and you aren't. And people that are 50 are probably saying, oh, at 30, you think you're a real adult too, ha ha ha. But like, what I mean is, it's a good thing to not be a real adult. You're like, you have adult responsibilities and you have adult privileges, but you're still like, you're closer to being like a child than you are to being dead. So that's what I mean. It's actually a compliment, believe it or not. I'm like a real adult, you know, I got things... I took my hand off the controller to scratch my nose like an absolute fool. It's embarrassing to be this into media, I guess. But, or maybe not, I don't know. I'm not embarrassed by it, but I'm kind of just getting out ahead of the criticism in advance, I suppose. But I'm like looking forward to this weekend, because I'm like, dude, Friday or Saturday, gonna go see that new Jordan Peele movie. You know, it looks great, but I think the thing that's got me most excited about the movie is I got 5 on it. I haven't found my excitement for a movie and the music in the trailer so inextricably linked. And yeah, I know it's Jordan Peele. He's a great director so far. The film's got 100 on Rotten Tomatoes, incredible word of mouth out of South by Southwest, etc., etc. But I haven't felt like my enjoyment of my anticipation for the movie be so tied for the song involved in the movie soundtrack since Hero by Chad Kroeger featuring Josie Scott from the Spider-Man 1 soundtrack. Legitimately, you know, went to see Spider-Man 1 opening weekend because I was like, I gotta hear that song. It was a different era, okay? You wouldn't understand if you didn't live through it. You'd go buy a $9 movie ticket just to hear a song and hope to hear a song in the end credits. And then, you know, of course, the movie is good, actually, and the song actually pretty much blows, but I was in 8th grade, so kind of come by it honestly, you know what I mean? But that's what I get, you know, that's optically what I'm looking forward to now. That and, oh my god, dude, on Friday, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice comes out. We finally, I've been building this narrative for a little while, but March and April are great months for media, dude, especially if you're a nerd and you can turn off your cynicism signalers for a bit, and I, you know, have trouble with this myself from time to time, but Game of Thrones comes back in April. New Souls-like game. It's a good time. There was other stuff. Infinity, well, not, I always call it Infinity War, because... Again, the 100 years old thing. Endgame comes out at the end of April. It's a whole thing, dude. It's a good, you know, corridor of the year to be into that kind of like, you know, semi-circle jerky nerd stuff. And for once, it's taken me a while to get there, but I'm in. I'm all in, brother. Take me down here. Okay. Depths 1, 15 minutes, 40 seconds in. It's uncommon for us to be this delayed on a D4 run. And, you know, our fortunes can turn with the drop of a dime here. I don't know, people always say your fortunes can turn on a dime, or your fortunes can turn at the drop of a hat. These are antiquated expressions. I don't drop hats. I mean, not on purpose anyway. I don't understand what that means. I drop dimes all the time. I drop dimes on in. They fall out of my pockets. I drop dimes on in. They're so small, relatively worthless. They're not worthless, but I mean, come on, 10 cents by itself is worth picking up. But let me put it this way. If I saw a dime on the sidewalk across the street, I would not cross the street to pick it up. If I opened my wallet and the dime fell out, I would pick it up. But if I'm being honest with you, part of the reason I would pick it up, and I'm just being sincere here, would be that if I didn't pick it up, people would be like, oh, look at Mr. Fat Cat. Doesn't want to pick up his dime, I see. What percentage of my dimes actually end up being utilized? Like in an actual purchased environment? I don't know. I imagine I probably have upwards of like $5 to $10 in dimes just lying around in various coin jars in my apartment and car at all times. Most of the dimes do not actually achieve any observable yield, I think. They mostly just, you know, they're like precious metals. They sit in storage until a later day. And it's obvious, you know, that it's nice to be in a position where you don't need the dimes, but dude, if I drop a quarter, I'll drive 6 blocks to pick it up. It's just, you know, I think I told you, but I I worked with this is a story that doesn't come up all that often, but I worked with a guy in Korea that he threw out all of his change that was under 25 cents, under 25 cents per unit. He had the heaviest garbage I've ever seen in my entire life. And at the end of the day, what did it cost him? I mean, apparently it's also a felony, but, you know. I don't know, like, sure, they're not in circulation because they're in a, you know, garbage dump somewhere. But simultaneously, they wouldn't be in circulation anyway if they were just sitting in a, you know, a glass inside of his bedroom. But regardless, you know, you shouldn't do it, and I don't do it. But it was hard to argue with him about it. He's like, literally, I've thrown out like $4 the whole... I've lived here for 9 months. I like coins, though, to be honest. I've been getting into a more analog lifestyle. I think I've talked about it a few times, but I've been learning to do things the slow way and take some pleasure in it. It gives me an opportunity to get away from my computer. I know I sound like a Gwyneth Paltrow blog post right now, but like, you know, for a lot of my bills now, I don't pay them online. I just I pay them by a check in the mail, and it's the lamest thing ever, but like I like it more. As ridiculous, I know I'm betraying my generation, because for years I had been the guy, I should say, that was like, well, if you want me to do something, you put it online. Why don't we vote online? Why don't we blah blah blah? You know. And now that you can do everything online, I'm like, I think I'll purchase a book of stamps and 75 envelopes, and then once a month I'll carry a big bundle of envelopes down to the Canada Post mailbox and send them out. But I don't know, dude, like, I'm not advocating for this lifestyle, because it is absurd. But I'm also being true to myself when I say that there's just something about it that is like, you know, you get the... Please let me go. I don't even care about Super Bowl, just let me go. You get, you go down, you get a cup of coffee or something, you carry it with you, you're out in the sun, getting a little bit of light exercise, and then... You know, it's obviously less reliable than just sending something online, but simultaneously, I don't know. I'm not doing it to put on airs. I'm doing it because, you know, it feels, I don't know, it's an excuse to get out of the apartment. You know, like, the more things are convenient, the more that sometimes, not always, but sometimes I like to, if the long way is slower but more pleasant, maybe, I can get down with it. There's no coherent argument for why I would enjoy doing... Like, I would never recommend, like, yeah, just go get a checkbook. And then, you know, put a little... And it seemed absurd the first few times. You know, like, what the heck is a stamp? A stamp is like, it's proof that you paid to mail a letter. It's such a bizarre system. I had to, like, Google it. I was like, where do you buy stamps? Where do stamps go on the envelope? I remember, like, in... probably like 4th grade, we had like a whole unit in English class. Yeah, maybe like put a trinket down there first. A whole unit in English class that was like, you know, here's how you like make letters. But that was in, I don't know, 1998, and I haven't really had much recourse to mail things from that point onwards, you know what I mean? Champion belt. It doesn't matter because we're going to keep re-rolling. We haven't hit that, like, you know, turbo awesome run yet. Is this it? I mean, I see... Oh, this is it, I think. Even though we're a little slower. We got a lot of electricity happening here. Yeah, that's about it, more or less. Also went to this restaurant in Vancouver. And, you know, I'm not going to name them. And the restaurant... Let me say this in advance. The restaurant was delicious. So, you know what? I will name them. Because it's kind of their gimmick. There's a couple restaurants like this, I'm sure, in every city in the world. It's like a Asian fusion eatery, but it's called Torafuku. And it's in kind of like the Chinatown neighborhood of Vancouver. Here's the thing. I'm not worried about the item room, just specifically because we have infinite items locked in the power of our own hand right now. It's called Torafuku. It's delicious. They got all sorts, it's you know, maybe like slightly more North American takes on various Asian cuisines. So you can get like, you know, cool dumplings, had some croquettes that were just like ridiculously large. They got dan dan noodles, they got ramen, but they have a menu that's very, it makes me very self-conscious to order from. I'm the kind of guy when and I don't know why, if I go to a restaurant, I don't like to say the names of the item on the menu if the name is like too precious. Like, I'm the kind of guy who like, sir, what'll you have? And I'm like, I'll have the lamb. And then there's only one lamb thing on the menu, and he's like, very good, sir. And I'm like, I'm an adult. If I go to like an Applebee's or a TGI Fridays, I have to leave my ego at the door to some extent, because I'll have the kickin' chili chicken crispers. I remember when I was back home last time, my ancestral home, we went to a Canadian chain restaurant called Kelsey's, and I had a fried chicken sandwich. There were so many fried chicken sandwiches on the menu that I had to consult with the server for like 90 seconds. I was like, I'll take the fried chicken sandwich. He's like, okay, well, do you want the kickin' maple syrup fried chicken sandwich or the southern fried chicken sandwich that comes on waffles instead, or do you want the chipotle country gravy chicken sandwich? You know, it's just, anyway. So we're at the restaurant, and you know, thankfully they do not have anything called miso horny, but they do have something called miso awesome. And I'm like, and you know, I love Brussels sprouts. We got a side of Brussels sprouts, but it was called Every Day I'm Brusselin', and I was just like, I really hope they don't make me say it. I'm not gonna give them a 1-star review on Yelp for it or something like that. But simultaneously, I just feel weird that I'm like, and we'll take an Every Day I'm Brusselin'. I just went, I'll take the Brussels sprouts. And then the server went, Every Day I'm Brusselin'? And I went, yeah, that's the one. You know it, brother. I'm not saying the restaurant shouldn't run itself the way it wants. And they're cultivating a fun atmosphere. I'm not trying to be a spoil sport, okay? I'm not trying to be the guy that's like, where do you get off having fun, pun-related names for your dishes? I'm just like, please don't make me say it. Okay, so obviously this is the run we want to stick with for a bit here. There were some other ones. I was trying to think. Give me a beat. They had like, you know, some beet french fries. Take a give me a beat. I just can't do it, dude. I'll take the beats, please. All right, Grandpa. We can see you didn't pick the restaurant. We'll bring over some steamed beets right away, sir. It was delicious, though. I went in, I'll admit, with a little bit of inherent bias. I was like, the fact that the names are funny, so the food's gonna be a joke. Nah, dude, it was actually fantastic. I would recommend it. There was another place like that. It's in a different Vancouver neighborhood, but it's like it's a cool sushi place. It's not like all those other sushi places that are like, give me a piece of tamago. It's like a cool one. Like, you could take your kids to it. And they definitely, well, maybe you shouldn't take your kids to it, I guess, in this case. But they did have a roll called Miso Horny. And I'm like, well, you know what you've done? I will not order it. I can't do it. If I got it down to 2 things and they both sound good, and one of them is called like the Captain Crunch roll, and one of them is called Miso Horny, I will not debase myself by saying that at a public establishment. It's just, I don't know, maybe I take myself a little bit too seriously. It's just my 2 cents on the issue. But I've talked about it before. I know it makes me seem like a curmudgeon. I'm happy to go out to eat. I'm happy to pick up the check, dude. I'm always just happy to be out, basically. But I don't like food that has more than one adjective in its menu item. I feel like chain, you know, family restaurants do that all the time. The cracklin', sizzlin', ooey gooey, spicy fried chicken okonomiyaki. Nah. I'll be the dude who's like, 16-ounce New York strip loin, please.
and some tap water for the lady.
Okay, I don't want to stick with the most boring run of all time. But I don't think it's boring. I think it's insulting for you to say, honestly. How dare you call my run boring just because we haven't talked about Isaac for several minutes. This one, we could have lost. And, I mean, if things go super badly with a reroll, we could as well. But it's very unlikely. I will reroll. I will reroll right now. Soy milk. Cricket's head. It's much worse, but, you know, just until we get a reroll. But yeah, it was a good weekend. Sunday, I finished Subnautica. I've been talking about it, I think, in Isaac episodes, but it feels like a load off my shoulders. Not because I necessarily hate or hated Subnautica, but, you know, just to be done with the long game. Feels good, dude. I mean, I feel that even off camera, but especially, like, when something's been dominating my time on Sundays for, you know, 3 months is nice to finish it. And yeah, I could have finished it faster if I was better, but that's not the way it went down. And I have to issue like a mea culpa to Subnautica. I won't apologize for like not liking the game as much as other people. I think I gave it a fair shake. There have been games I have not given a fair shake, for sure. But, you know, Subnautica, I had some problems with it. We persevered, and I think, apart from the fact that it's very fetch questy and grindy at the end, which, you know, is well-trodden territory, smarter people than myself have talked about ad nauseum, it has a really sentimental ending. Like, I found myself not really getting misty at the ending, but, you know, I don't want to spoil it, but a little bit like, you know, I'm going to miss parts about this, for sure. So I think they did a really good job on the story of the game, to be honest. And not sad to see it go. You know, we gotta be honest about that. But definitely, the final session was one of the strongest sessions we had. So I feel good about that. It's just nice, you know. What are we gonna play on Sundays now? I'm not gonna say anything. I've learned. The polls. I'm not saying the polls were a mistake. Who could have known that I wouldn't have liked Subnautica? You know, it was 98% positive on Steam. Or I wouldn't have liked Subnautica that much, at least. But I think, you know, I'm learning. I'm just going to choose whatever I want to play. And if people riot, then they riot. But I'm the one who's got to play it, dude. So I'm not... You know, we spent a couple of years, or a few years, really, with the narrative that, like, Sunday should be, you know, us taking the opportunity to play games that were, you know, I missed them on the first pass. And we might get back to that at some point. But for now, I got a laundry list internally in my own head of stuff I'd like to play. Regardless. We don't need to get into it too much. You know what I have been playing? I played a bunch of it this weekend. And I mean, I'm trying to think of the order of these videos. You've probably seen a bunch of Baba Is You pop up on my channel. If you've seen it and you have not watched it, give it a shot, dude. Baba Is You. Every year there's a couple, sometimes less than a couple, but usually one or two, like, amazing indie puzzlers that come out. Where when people play them, they go, this is, like, the best designed game I've ever played in my entire life. And not everybody's into those, and that's fine. But, you know, and not everyone's into every one of those. Like, I kind of hit the snooze button on The Witness a little bit, but, you know, Baba Is You has really grabbed me. It's an extremely fun and clever game. It's one of the... It's very strange. It's not a humor game at all. But it is one of those games where sometimes the solutions to puzzles are very clever. And I find myself going like, you know what? You're getting a little chuckle out of that one I hadn't considered. The elevator pitch is that it's basically a block-pushing puzzle game, but the blocks that you push are actually the conditions for winning and losing and how you can interact with your environment. So you could have, like, you know, a sign that says, like, or a line that says, like, wall is stop. And then another one... Well, I mean, the most simple explanation is like, hey, you're trapped in a room, but you got a block that says wall is stop. Push stop out of the way, and now the wall no longer actually has collision on it. You can just walk out of the room. It's very clever, very good. And, you know, I bought it on PC so I could record it, but I'm also like, dude, I should pick up the Switch version. But then, realistically, I don't want to pick up the Switch version because all I want to do is make some lines, playing the Tetris of 99. Alright, let's head down. I'm not eager for the run to end because it sucks. I'm eager for the run to end so we can get into a little bit more Isaac strategy. Because, I mean, just using the D4 whenever it shows up is not really a strategy. That's, you've been given a gift. Enjoy it, of course, but it is a gift. So, and this run is not that good. Not this run. This particular permutation of items and what have yous. But, we should have absolutely no problem for a number of reasons getting through to a successful victory here. And I gotta tell you, I don't know whether it's like an Ouroboros or something like that. My mood has an impact on Isaac, and my Isaac performance has an impact on my mood. You know, when I was in that slump, it's not like I was miserable, but I was definitely, you know, 10% more dreading doing the episode, because I was like, oh, I'm just gonna do the episode and lose again. Okay, I mean, obviously this is extremely good. Now I got like, you know, I'm like Joseph Gordon-Levitt in 500 Days of Summer when he looks in the car window and sees that he's Han Solo. You make my dreams come true. Oh, dude, easy wins. We're not gonna re-roll off this, I think. It's a very convenient way to finish it off. To be honest with you, I don't really like 500 Days of Summer that much. I'd probably give it like a 6.5. I don't think it's bad, but, you know, I'm definitely... When it comes to movies with the so-called manic pixie dream girl archetype heavily involved, I'm much more of an Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind guy. But that's one of my favorite scenes of, like, you know, 2000 to 2010 cinema, is the montage where Joseph Gordon-Levitt is just... He's dancing around because he's high on life. And he looks in the mirror and Han Solo gives him a thumbs up. It's an inspired moment of movie making. So I did reroll. What's happening? Can't shoot, brother. Is it just kidney stone incredibly slow charging? I have no idea. I mean, there's only so many ways you can interact with, you know, the arrow keys. I've tried charging up for a long time. It feels like I'm getting redder. Like kidney stone is just, for whatever reason, taking 300 years to charge up. Honestly, I don't know. We could tap it really fast. Well, I mean, if there's any time that you're okay with a bug like this happening, it's probably a situation like this where you're also, you know, still doing extremely well in spite of that. But this would screw us long term for sure. Either way, it didn't. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. See ya!